Pan Am made flying glamorous, safe, and American, but its unstoppable rise hit a fatal dependency. For decades, government protection turned the blue globe into a symbol of power, yet every triumph was built on rules that could vanish overnight. How does an icon fall when its very prestige becomes a trap? That answer and the consequences start right here. In 1927, a handful of determined visionaries set out to connect America to the world by air. Among them was Juan Trippe, a young Yale graduate and former Navy pilot whose ambition would shape the future of flight. With a single-engine Fokker and a contract to carry mail from Key West to Havana, Pan American Airways took its first steps, meeting a deadline that allowed it to secure the vital foreign air mail contract. What began as a race against time quickly became a race toward global reach. Within 2 years, Pan Am's routes stretched deep into South America, linking Miami to Brazil and Buenos Aires and pushing west toward the Pacific. Trippe's drive went beyond profit. He imagined an airline that would shrink the globe. He hired technical pioneers like Charles Lindbergh as technical director and invested in new technology and training. By the late 1930s, Pan Am's iconic flying boats, the Clippers, were crossing oceans. In 1935, the China Clipper made the first commercial trans-Pacific flight, and by 1939, the Yankee Clipper was carrying passengers across the Atlantic. These flights were not just milestones, they were bold statements that air travel belonged to anyone with the courage to board. Through the 1940s and into the jet age, Pan Am's blue globe became a symbol of American promise. The company did not just fly planes, it built airports, mapped routes, and set standards for safety and luxury. For decades, Pan Am was the airline that made the world feel smaller, and its name was spoken with pride in every corner of the globe. Behind Pan Am's celebrated image lay a reality shaped almost entirely by government protection. The Civil Aeronautics Board, known as CAB, granted Pan Am exclusive rights to fly international routes, while barring it from operating domestic flights within the United States. This arrangement was more than a privilege, it was a wall. The CAB not only controlled who could fly where, it also set ticket prices for international flights, approving every fare and preventing competitors from undercutting Pan Am. On transatlantic and trans-Pacific routes, fares were fixed at high levels, such as a one-way economy ticket from New York to London in 1946 that cost $270, a fortune at the time. With those guarantees, Pan Am never needed to build a domestic network to feed its international flights. Instead, its model relied on direct, point-to-point service between major world cities. Rival airlines, forced to focus on the United States market, developed dense hub-and-spoke systems, quietly building the flexibility and cost advantages that Pan Am never had to consider. For decades, the rules were clear and the profit steady, but the company's strength was inseparable from the system that protected it. The very structure that fueled its rise would become a hidden weakness, waiting for the day the rules changed. In 1978, Congress passed the Airline Deregulation Act, wiping away decades of government protection almost overnight. This deregulation removed price and route controls that had sheltered the industry. Ticket prices, once set by the Civil Aeronautics Board, began to plummet as new airlines flooded the market. Carriers with dense domestic networks could now funnel passengers from every corner of the country onto their international flights, lowering costs and filling planes. Pan Am, with no domestic routes to draw from, found itself locked out of this new game. The hub and spoke system, perfected by rivals, let them offer more choices at lower fares. Suddenly, Pan Am's isolated global network became a burden, not a strength. The rules had changed, and the company's old advantages vanished in a rush of competition. In 1980, Pan Am made a high-stakes move, acquiring National Airlines for $437 million, hoping to gain a domestic network overnight. The merger quickly unraveled. National's fleet of DC-10 and 727 aircraft clashed with Pan Am's 747 and L-1011, creating headaches for maintenance, spare parts, and crew training. Labor tensions flared as unions fought over seniority and wages, driving up costs on routes that were already losing money. With cash draining fast, Pan Am began selling off its crown jewels. The Pan Am building in New York, once a symbol of the airline's reach, was sold for $400 million. By 1985, the company parted with its historic Pacific routes, handing them to United Airlines. Each sale bought a little time, but stripped away the assets that had built Pan Am's legacy. On December 21, 1988, Pan Am Flight 103 exploded over Lockerbie, Scotland, killing 270 people. The loss was immediate and absolute. Families were shattered, and a quiet town was transformed by tragedy. For Pan Am, the consequences went far beyond the wreckage. Public trust collapsed overnight. Passengers canceled bookings across every route. Lawsuits from grieving families and survivors mounted, demanding answers and accountability. Insurance costs soared as regulators imposed stricter security requirements, driving expenses even higher. The company, already weakened by years of financial strain, could not absorb the blow. International partners withdrew, and the Blue Globe logo, once seen as a promise of safety, now drew suspicion and fear. In the aftermath, the damage was not just financial or legal. Pan Am's reputation, built over decades, was gone in a single night, leaving only silence where confidence used to be. Aviation still moves at the speed of change. Today, legacy means nothing without adaptability. The next icon to fall won't stumble in the skies. It will fall behind boardroom doors. Thanks for watching.